Welcome everyone, Farmer Cop here. This is going to be kind of a beginner's guide to Farming Simulator 25. We are going to walk through the tutorial together. I'm going to add some extra tips and hints as we go through it as well. So the way to kind of start the tutorial process in Farming Simulator 25 is to go in career mode, choose an empty game slot, and then you can start a new farmer, which is great. Start farm, yes, and guided tour, yes. We want to make sure this happens. We need that. So you can do that on any one of the base game maps. I'm going to do the one on Riverbend Springs, but all of them will help you out. I am going to go through the other two just to be sure that there aren't any things that are missing in there otherwise, but it should be all about the same and teach you very similar things. So let's go ahead and hit continue to start off, and then we can select any mods we want. We don't really need the government subsidy mod. I'll leave the Macdon pack in there just for the heck of it, but we can go ahead and start off that way. All right, now we've loaded in. We can go ahead and do whatever we like to customize our character. Doesn't really matter a whole lot. We're just going to get started at least for now. So here we are. It says, welcome to your new farm. It's mid-morning when you arrive at your new farm. Walter, your grandfather, is no longer able to look after the farm, so you are now taking over. Familiarize yourself with the game before you go greet your grandfather. So you'll load in right here. We'll hit left click to start. Guided tour, it says. Let's start with the interface. You'll find all the important information on your screen. So the weather's up there in the upper right-hand corner. You can see that. And then if we click forward again, we have the date. So it's August right now. I'm going to click forward again. We have the time up there, so you can see that it's 8 a.m. And then also, too, I will say on the time there, next to it, that 0.5 is how fast time is moving. So right now, it's moving a minute every 2 minutes in real life. It's at halftime. And then the balance over there is how much money we have, which is $100,000. Click again, down the bottom left-hand corner, we have the mini-map, which we can cycle through by hitting 9. It won't let me do it right now because we're in the tour, but you can do that. And then tour progress, so get familiar with the UI elements. Click again. All right, now that you know the basic user interface, let's move on. You can't just stand here. Please go to the marked location by using the direction controls. You can control them using W, A, S, and D, and then control the player view direction with the mouse, and we'll hit OK there. Now, if you're on console, obviously it'll be a little bit different. So we can look around with our mouse, and we can move around like this. And again, like I said, down there, bottom left-hand corner, if I hit 9, it'll adjust that mini-map to go different things. I like it on that one right there, so it keeps oriented the same way. But you can see we have a marker here, so we can go however. And then if you want to, you can see I'm just walking at a normal speed here. If I hold down Shift, it'll allow me to sprint. So if you want to walk a little bit faster, you can do that. But let's go over here and talk to Walter. So, guided tour, you can talk to people on your farm and at specific locations on the map. Press the button to talk to them. So we can hit R to start conversation.
Welcome to our lovely farm, kiddo. I'm glad you're here to continue the family business. The fact that you're about to take over the farm makes your pops quite happy, not gonna lie. When your father told me on a visit that he didn't want what I built here, I thought that was it. He even called it a dung heap when he left in his fancy suit. And then he stepped into manure on the way to his car. It's okay that he does his own thing, but I thought I had to sell the farm. Thanks to you, it can stay in the family. You don't know what that means to me. Otherwise, your crazy uncle might have turned it into an amusement park with the main attraction of catching chickens on the fields or something. Anyway, let's not talk about that just now. I can tell you some stories later. And just so you know, I'm not out of the picture just yet. I'm here if you need me, just like your friendly neighbors you should talk to sometime. They're nice people, a bit strange perhaps, but still delightful in their own ways. So, do you want me to give you a quick tour and show you some things?
Okay, so we had quite the conversation there. So it was pretty funny. So we're going to say yes, we would like a tour.
Okay then, let me show you a couple of things. Ease you in. There will always be people to help you out, but it's good to have done all the steps yourself, at least once. Right next to the farm, we're going to work on a field. There's also a big tractor with a cultivator. I'll walk you through how to operate it. I can't wait to see you get started.
Now, if you are talking with him and you don't want to listen to everything he says, you can just left click to click through each of the things there. So now we have a new target, so we can run over this way. I'm holding down Shift again to run. Hey! Oh, he disappeared over there. So he was in two places at once. He's quicker than we are. Anyhow, we come up here.
Are you ready to roll? Then hop onto the tractor and attach the cultivator. It's just to the back.
Perfect. So, we have a tractor right here, which you can see we can hop in it. Now, I'm going to open up my help menu up in the upper left-hand corner so you guys can see what I'm doing. At any point, you can pause the video and take a look over there and see what the different controls are. I'll try to mention all of them as I go. But here we have a tractor, and we do have a cultivator right here. If you want to see what equipment you own on your farm, you can simply hit escape to go into the main menu, and then we can scroll down. It should be, well, yeah, here we, no, it's not. It's not available yet because we're on the guided tour, but I'll show you guys that later at the very end. I'll give you guys a few more tips. So anyhow, now we also are in the shed too. I'll note that it says R up in the upper left-hand corner to be able to turn on the shed light. So if we wanted to turn on some lights to see better, we can easily do that. So anyhow, we come up here. It says the first step before you can start, you have to get into your vehicle, and that's E to hit, or E to enter. So we'll hit E to get in.
Just like that. Exactly. Now we do the work. Meet me at the field over there.
Okay, so you said meet him at the field over there. A couple things I'll note. This tractor did start the engine automatically. What we can do is, if you want to in the settings, which I did do a whole different video on all the different game settings, so if you're not sure how to set your settings or what the different settings mean, that's both in-game settings and graphic settings. I do have a separate video out on that, so please make sure you check that out. But you can set it so when you get in the tractor, you can turn it on and off versus it automatically turning on. So guided tour. It says as soon as you get in, you can drive off. Drive to the marked spot and let Walter explain your first task to you. So basically, driving is the same as moving around. We can hit forward and backwards, which is W and S, and then side to side, you can see we can turn with A and D. So very intuitive in terms of that. We're going to drive out here. I'm zooming in and out by scrolling on the mouse wheel. You also can hit C if you want to be in cab. Now, it won't let me hop out of the tractor, but you can also, when you're walking, you can hit C to go to third-person view. But let's continue over here. Now, again, I don't know all the controls for console, or if you're using a game controller, but your help menu that's up in the upper left-hand corner and the guided tour will be in those correct commands there. All right, so over here, looks like Walter wants us to do some cultivating.
Here we are. So before we can sow anything on the field, we need to take care of the stubbles. Cultivate it. Prepare it for the next season. Otherwise, the grain will not grow very well. Lower the cultivator and drive straight ahead. It's easy as spilling milk.
All right, so up in the upper left-hand corner, it says current controlled vehicle. You can see control groups up there. So what's highlighted on the back of that, if I hit G, it'll switch between those two. I can't do it right now, of course. Drives me crazy. I want to show some. But anyhow, if I left-click there, there's the tool selection and to lower the tool, but we'll talk about that right now. So up in the upper left-hand corner, it's got the implement highlighted. If I hit G, it would highlight the it should highlight the tractor if there's anything to adjust on it. Doesn't look like there is for this because when I hit G, it's not switching anything. But if I hit V, I can lower the cultivator down, and you can see it's lowered. And now as I drive over this, it is cultivating the field. Now, you can hire workers to do some of the work for you. This one, we can't hire workers to do the work for us because it's part of the guided tour, but that is definitely an option for you in the future moving forward. And now while we do this, I'll also kind of explain just the basics of working with crops. Now I will do very specific tutorials about production chains and all sorts of crazy stuff, basically anything that you could possibly have to do. I will do a video on that to kind of help you guys out. I'll have very specific videos, short videos on specific topics and everything like that. I do a ton of tutorials on my channel, so make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss any of those. It will help you out tremendously, trust me. But anyhow, regardless of that, the basics for crops, when you're doing crops. Step one is going to be basically to do field prep, which is what we're doing right now, which is cultivating, plowing, depending on what it is. Again, I can talk more about that in details in other videos, but you need to do some sort of field prep to get it ready to be planted. So this field and the current state that we're plowing it on, or we're cultivating it on, this state that you see right here, this is a harvested state. So the last crop has been harvested, and now in order for us to be able to plant, most of the time plant something on it, we have to cultivate it or plow it or do something, which right now we are cultivating it to be able to get it ready to seed. And then obviously step two is to plant. So you're going to plant whatever you'd like to plant in that field. You do have to make sure, if you're playing with seasons on, you need to plant at the correct time of year. So just be aware of that. Now the other thing I'll note as well, is some crops are going to be a lot more difficult to do than others. These kind of steps are the basic steps for a lot of crops, but I would say for the beginning especially, I would stick to just kind of doing grain style crops like wheat, barley, that sort of stuff. That's what I would stick to. So that's kind of the important part, I think, is to do that just so you don't get too confused, you don't get too in depth right off the bat. And then after you have your crop seeded, you need to care for the crop as it grows. So if you have weeds on, you need to spray weeds, or you need to take care of the weeds as they come up, which again, I'll do more videos on that. And I would say for the beginning to not have those turned on. And then you also need to fertilize twice before it's time to harvest to make sure you get the most out of your yield. So that's an important step as well. And then after that, you just need to wait until it's time to harvest and then use a harvester to harvest. The field to the left of us over there is ready to harvest, and I'm assuming Walter's going to have us grab the harvester that we own in that shed over there and harvest that here in a second. But we're almost done with this, so we'll just do one more loop. Turn around one more time to get this taken care of. And again, let me know if you have any questions down below in the comments. I will try to respond to every comment if I can, so I can hopefully help you guys out. But this is a very complicated game. There's a lot to it, but it doesn't have to be that complicated. What I'd say is a lot of people get kind of hung up when they try to do too much all at once or buy too much all at once. Just start very basic. Start making some money off of some grain crops and do that sort of stuff. It doesn't have to be complicated. All right, and we should be about done right there.
Good. We're done here, kiddo. Now drive back to the garage and get out the seeder. I'll meet you there.
All right, so we can lift the tool, hit V to lift it up. It bothers me that there's a little bit left on that field, so I'm going to do that little bit there. And now we're going to go switch out for the seeder. So he wants us to come here first, so we'll go here.
Now we change tools, kiddo. Get rid of the cultivator and attach the seeder.
All right, perfect. So down there it says before you can attach another attachment, you have to disconnect the one you have, which you hit Q to do. So we're going to just try not to run over Walter here. I'm just going to, for the sake of making this easy, I'm just going to back this out of the way into the shed over here. And once I have it wherever I would like the implement to be, I can hit Q to detach it. So Q.
Now you need to attach the seeder. Drive back slowly.
All right, perfect. So we're going to back in to attach the seeder. You do the same thing if you wanted to reattach the plow. You just hit Q to attach the next thing. So if I back into here, and now I can hit Q to attach it.
That's how it's done. The sewing machine. But
Oops, sorry.
don't you fret. I just went to the store. Next to the shed, you will find a big bag with seeds. Get over there to fill the seeder.
I accidentally clicked once on it. So there's seeds right there. We can see, it won't let me get out of the tractor still, but there's a little bag of seeds right there. So we're going to fill that up by pulling up next to it. So that's why if we pull forward there, if our tractor's there, our seeder will be right next to that. On the bottom right-hand side, you can see how many seeds we have and what seed is selected, which is wheat right now. So there we go. We hit R to start filling it. So you have to fill up your equipment with various things. So this needs seeds, and also in that bottom right-hand corner, if we just talk about that real quickly, again at the top it says wheat, and it says 0 liters, 0%, because we don't have any seeds in there. You can hit Y to change what seed you're planting. You don't need to get a different seed for barley or different seed for this or that. It's all just generic seeds to keep it simplified. And then for the controls for the vehicle, you can see how fast you're going, and then you can also see how many hours the vehicle has right below the speedometer there, which is 81.5 for this vehicle. And then you can see what your cruise control set is set to, which is 40 miles per hour, which should be the top speed for this vehicle, which is what it's usually set to by default. Then on the right hand side, you have the gear shifting, which we don't have to worry about because we have it set to automatically do it, which is what I'd recommend. And then we have the repair of the vehicle, and then we have the fuel. So the repair is a little bit low because it's taking a little bit of damage, looks like, and then the fuel is completely full because that orange bar is completely filled up. So all good to go. All right, now you can see too, since we pulled up next to it, if I get in here a little bit, I should go around the back. You can see the seeder opened up. If I back up away from it, those are closed. So if I get close to a bag of seed, they'll open up. And then I can hit R to refill, and you can see our seed is going in on the bottom right-hand corner there.
Well
and boom.
done. Now you're ready to go. Last week I cultivated a field over there. Cultivated fields are ready to be sown. It's pretty straightforward. Drive the machine to the field and meet me there. We'll bring out canola.
All right, so we're going to hit the shed, of course. That's natural. You won't damage your equipment. Don't worry by hitting things. It just is what it is. This isn't GTA, so you don't have to worry about that. We'll drive over there in just a second. I don't know if it's letting me do it. It will. So I hit Y. It'll let me select what seed I have down there in the bottom, which there's several seeds you can do with this. Again, to start, I would stick with wheat, barley, oats, canola, and that would be pretty much it. That would be what I kind of stick to. The other ones are a little bit more complicated, so I would stick to those just to start. So we'll pull over here. And as he mentioned as well, the cultivated fields are ready to be planted on. So these fields, since they've been cultivated, are ready to be planted on.
Here we are. One thing you need to pay attention to is timing. Plants need to be sown in specific seasons. It's midsummer. It's the perfect time to sow canola. In any other period, you might want to switch to a different kind of crop. You can always check the crop calendar. First, we need to prepare the seeder. Choose the canola seeds, as the big bag is filled with all kinds of seeds.
All right, perfect. Then we hit Y, just like it says right there. And we can use the crop calendar to determine that. And then also it says there's a selected fruit type with a fill level, which is great. So we're going to change that over to canola.
Seeding is easy. While seeding, straight lines are important though. Go back and forth to bring out the seed with as few gaps as possible. At some point, you'll have to buy a big bag of seeds at the store to refill it. But now you can use what you've got. Now, you only got to switch the machine on and lower it to the ground.
All right, perfect. So change tool selection and turn on the tool are both there, which it won't let us switch to the tractor, so we don't have to worry about that. But if we get over the ground here, I'm going to get lined up a little bit better. And now if I hit V to lower the seeder, and then I hit B as in boy to turn it on, now it's good to go. Now it already said I could lower it, but I lowered it first. So I did it the opposite how I wanted to, but it doesn't really matter. And you can see now we are sowing. And if you look over there in the bottom right hand corner, that canola seed should go down, theoretically. Hasn't gone down yet, but it should go down. I wonder, for the sake of the tutorial, if it's set to not go down at all.
That's how it's done, kiddo.
Okay, there we go. He's happy with that.
Oh, by the way, always keep an eye on the weather. According to the weather forecast, it's going to rain soon. That's perfect for canola, but not as good for the wheat on the other field. If you want to hire a helping hand at some point, you can. We're done here. The helper will do the rest.
Okay, so it wants us to hire a helper, which is great. That's fantastic. So if I hit H.
Good job. Field workers are a great support if you're busy and cannot finish the job in time. Now get back to the garage and get out the harvester. Let's do it quickly. I'll meet you there.
So we'll hit tab to switch to the next vehicle, but I'm going to make sure this guy gets going here. So he's going to go where he wants to, which is going to be the center of the field to start planting first. And there we go. He's going to do his thing, and he will work on planting the field. Okay, we'll hit tab to switch to our next vehicle. You also can hit E to get out of your vehicle.
Are you up for something exciting?
I'll let him finish talking.
Because we'll do the harvesting next. There's a right field that needs taking down. Are you still up for it? The header for the harvester sits on the trailer attached at the back. Let's meet at the field, okay, kiddo? But drive carefully. That machine is a beast.
Okay, so there we go. We can pull forward, but as I was saying, you can also hit E to get out of your vehicle and walk over to your other vehicle if you'd like to. They just made us tab for this one. So now we can drive over to, where does he want us to go? Assuming he wants us to harvest. Oh, he wants us to go over there. So that looks like a sorghum field or something else. All right, so we'll flip around here, go where he wants us to. The AI worker's got me a little worried. He looks a little confused there. There's still someone in it? Nope, the AI worker quit. Can I tab back? No, I can't. The AI worker just gave up. That'll happen sometimes. The AI worker system's a little glitchy. So if he has issues, just rehire him, or you might have to do some of it yourself. But yeah, okay. We don't have too much to harvest over here. That's kind of nice. Now, if you have crop destruction turned on, you don't want to drive over your crops. It should be off, I believe, for the tutorial. but we'll see. Nope, yep, didn't destroy anything. Normally that would destroy crops, so just be aware of that. Alright, let's see what Walter wants now.
So, let's do this. You'll need to prepare the machine. With a combine harvester, the header cuts the plants. Those headers have different widths, depending on the size of the combine. Go detach the trailer. Then drive the harvester with its front to the header and attach it.
Alright, perfect. So, I'm going to hit Q to detach the trailer, and then we want to loop around to the correct side of the header, and you can see which side's the correct side. If we zoom in, well, it's telling us here, but the side that has this kind of going towards the front is the front of the header. The back of the header is just this solid metal part. So we go up to there, and then we can hit Q to attach
Good.
it.
You're almost set now. Before you can start harvesting, the grain tank needs to be unfolded. Do that and bring yourself into position on the field.
Alright, so to unfold tools, you just hit X, so it's going to unfold it. And now we just have to go over to get ready to harvest the field here.
You can see that the field is nearly done already. I was feeling a little wobbly in the knees earlier, so I left it for you. Thought you might want to try it out anyway. All you need to do is to steer the harvester into the field. Unfold the tank, start the harvester, and do the rest.
Alright, so we just need to turn the machine on. We hit B.
For a combine of this size, harvesting takes some time. But soon you will be able to buy a bigger one. Now go at it and show the crop who's the farmer.
Alright, perfect. So we also need to lower it now. Hit V to lower it. And we can drive forward and start harvesting. Now you'll see there is a straw swath coming out the back. That's this right here. You can disable that if you'd like to. You can see it's the comma key to disable the straw swath. If you don't want the straw swath, that's the best kind of way to do it. You can use that straw and bale it and use it for either taking care of animals, or you can sell it as like an extra product. We may not really worry about that. It's kind of more advanced, but if you wanted to do that, you could definitely do that. It's definitely an extra step. You're not going to get a ton of money off of it. I would say straw is mostly good for using it to help you take care of animals if you have animals on your farm. But you can make a little bit extra on top of your crop if you go and you do that with it. So, but anyhow, yeah. And then we can get to the end. You hit B to turn it off and V to lift it up. You can turn around. You don't have to do that, but it'll make you drive a little bit faster because you have a specific working speed that's the max. And so the only thing we really haven't done is had to worry about fertilizing and stuff like that. And again, after we get through the guided tutorial, I'm going to talk to you guys about a few other extra things that I think are kind of important. So, yeah, I'm going to keep working on this. I'll put a little cut in here while I finish out getting this field harvested, and then I'll bring you guys back in. All right, we're getting close to wrapping up now, the harvest at least. Now, we did say sooner or later you can buy a bigger harvester. You can definitely upgrade your equipment and get bigger equipment, more equipment, and you can do that as you go. You also can buy more land if you wanted to harvest more area and have kind of more of an increased ability to make money by doing that. So that's kind of some things that you can look forward to and kind of build your farm up. There's also buildings and all sorts of different stuff you can build and customize your farm if you'd like to do that as well.
Nice one, kiddo. That's it. You have my blood in your veins, after all. The harvester has a limited capacity to store the crop. Now we need to unload the wheat onto a trailer to sell it. Prepare your harvester for unloading by unfolding the pipe.
All right, so we can hit O to unfold the pipe. I'm just going to finish harvesting that, and then I'm going to turn the harvester off so it's not as loud. If I hit O, it'll unfold the pipe just like that. Pretty straightforward. And then you just have to pull a trailer under that to unload it.
The pipe will start extending, and the wheat will start to pour out automatically. But we're missing something, aren't we? There's no trailer here just yet. Go get the trailer in the garage.
All right, so they want us to switch vehicles again. Now, it did say it'll automatically start coming out. It won't just onto the field. If you hit left control I, it will automatically unload onto the field into a pile, which you don't want. So it'll automatically unload if there's a trailer there, more specifically.
Come back to the field so we can unload.
And you can see they already took the Challenger and he hooked it up to the trailer for us. So now we can drive it over to the field to unload, which is just out this way. Pretty straightforward there. And now, before we unload, one thing I will note, on the harvester when we were in it, you can see there's some grain in there. That down in the bottom right-hand corner where that it says 0 on this thing for the trailer, that's the fill volume. I guess like he said that the harvester does have a limited fill volume before you have to unload it. So you may have to unload it multiple times during the harvest.
To empty the tank of your harvester, pull along to it on the driver's side of the harvester. The trailer is in the correct position directly below the pipe. The harvester will start to unload automatically. Neat,
right.
huh? Wait it out until it's unloaded.
So you can see the wheat's getting transferred over to our trailer now, which we got a fair amount off of that, just over 2,000 liters. All the units are in liters in the game, by the way.
Well done, kiddo. You can either store the crop in your silo or you can sell it. This load I promised to a vendor friend of mine. He's already waiting for you. So all you gotta do is drive the tractor with the trailer to his unloading station. Now drive to the grain elevator to sell the wheat.
Okay, and I'm sure that they've marked that grain elevator on there. You see it's 1,000 meters from us, so just over a kilometer. We're gonna start driving that way. Now I will show you how to sell crops and how to put them in a silo as well. If you want to put them in a silo, you just have to drive over to where your silo is and then unload it in there, and then you can sell it from there. Now, I will say there are benefits to doing that. The benefit to putting it into a silo and then selling it later is the price might be better, and I'll show you how to determine when the prices are best and all that. I'll show you that kind of after the fact here. Now I'm going to open the map a little bit larger to see where we actually need to go. Yeah, we need to go actually into town, so we have a little bit of a drive ahead of us. But you can see there's a lot of good detail on the maps and a lot of good things happening. Now, if I wanted to set cruise control, I can hit 3. And then this guy will automatically drive. You can see down below the speed, the cruise control, well, it's set at 40, which is apparently not the max for this tractor. You can adjust the cruise control by hitting 1 to go down, or 2 to go up, depending on what you want the speed to be at. I just want it to be the max speed, so I'll just have it set where it's at now. But yeah, we can keep rocking and rolling here, just having that set on there for cruise control. It's highlighted green, which means it's on. If I hit 3 again, it'll turn off, but I'm going to turn it back on because I want it to keep going. So yeah. Pretty straightforward in terms of that. We are almost done with the guided tour, it looks like. I know it's a little bit long video, and this isn't going to give you all the answers to everything, but hopefully it'll give you a basic overview of kind of what you want to do in the game. So hopefully this helps you guys out. If it does, please drop a like down below. It definitely goes to help support the channel, so definitely do appreciate that. But we'll get over here, we'll sell this. And up in the upper left-hand corner, you can change the tip side. The tip side is currently tip side back. If I hit U, it'll be the grain door, and if I hit U again, it'll be left, and then U again, right. Some trailers have that ability. So this one, you can either tip out the left or right side of the trailer, or the back, or if you see that little tiny door right there in the middle, it can tip out of just that. So I'll demonstrate that, actually. We'll do the grain door just so you can see what little door I'm talking about there. But we're getting close to the grain elevator.
This is one of many selling points. If you don't like the prices you get on the market, you can also store the grain in your farm silo to wait it out. Sell your goods later. But now, let's get to it. Drive the trailer over the tip area and unload.
All right, so we're gonna drive over it. And then we hit I to dump, which is pretty easy. So hit I, and you can see the little grain doors open. And then you can see our money in the upper right-hand corner is going up, which is great. Now, the grain doors are slower unload than the tip side, just the back, but I just wanted to show you kind of the difference there. It doesn't really matter. It's kind of all preference.
Well done. At some point, you'll do this in your sleep. Now, let's go back to the farm, shall we?
All right, we got $2,400 you can see up there as extra harvest income. And now it wants me, of course, to drive all the way back to the farm. I don't think there's a faster way other than the way I just stepped. That's definitely the fastest way. That guy's going to just drive right out there. Wow. Oh, and he's going to try to, well, to be fair, I was in the wrong on that one probably, but he did cut me off first, darn it. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and drive back to the farm. I'll put a little break in here so you guys don't have to just watch me drive, and I'll bring you guys back when we get close. All right, we are almost there. Almost all the way back here. Just pulling into the farmyard now. There we go. You have successfully completed your task. You can please get out of the vehicle. Okay, we'll hop out. It'll shut off. There we go. I'm assuming Grandpa wants to talk to us to kind of wrap up the tutorial. Guided tour says you can talk with people on your farm in specific locations on the map. Press the button to interact with them. I guess they want me to interact with Grandpa?
You're back. Splendid. I started wondering if you joined your father. Well, where were we? Right. You've seen the most important steps on the field now. There's always more to do, like yield improvement, liming, fertilizing, weeding. Those require special equipment. Next thing is gaining a bit of a feel for everything. I'll just leave you to it so you can try out a few things. You don't want your old grandpa meddling with your business all the time, do you? But I'll be here if you need anything. If you want more detailed info, you can also ask Ben. He has been one of my most trusted helpers in the past. He will gladly explain a lot of farming techniques. Now, get to farming. Dung heap indeed. You'll do just fine. This farm is your farm now.
All right, we successfully completed the tour. We can do whatever we want now. Perfect. Okay, so I want to go over a few things with you. If we hit escape to hop in the menu, it's going to save it. That's fine. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to go through these settings really quick for you guys, just quick and dirty. So these are all the crops you can grow. You can see there's a ton. Again, I would stick to wheat, barley, canola, oats. Soybeans are fine as well. Those are kind of the ones, and sorghum is also fine. Those are the ones I would stick to. Now on your map, you can see where those crops are. Like, for example, the canola we planted in, well, I guess our worker tried to plant in there. It didn't go well. You can also see this used to have wheat in it, so it'll show the last one. That's where we harvested the wheat. You can also see where our vehicles are at, so and everything like that. But if we go back over here, crop types, they're all on here. You can turn specific ones off if you want to, or turn them all on, or whatever the case is. If we scroll over one, we have growth. This is important, so we can see this is harvested. It matches that, and you can turn these on or off. Withered means the crops you've gone past the harvesting time, and they are bad. You have to just plow them under and start again. Remove foliage is more specific to some specialty crops like potatoes, which we're not going to talk about here. I will have tutorials on all of that, so if you get good at this and you want to learn some more, check out all the other videos on my channel. Then ready to harvest, like for example, we have this other field which is ready to harvest, which that has canola in it, actually, which doesn't make sense, because if it's time for us to plant canola, shouldn't be ready to harvest now. Maybe it's the same, it could be the same time period, I guess, actually, because canola takes a while to grow, so it might be harvest and grow, in the planting season might be the same time. But anyhow, yep, you can see that's ready to harvest. Then we have growing, so this is different growth states. The darker the green gets, the closer it is to being ready, so these fields are very close. This one we just planted, so just started growing. Then we have seed bed, which means, well, it's been cultivated pretty much, and it's ready to be planted. And then we have plowed, which is a field that would be plowed, which I don't know if we have one of those fields on here right now on this map at all. I don't see one. So then cultivated, which we did technically cultivate this field, but I think it just came up as a seed bed there. And then, oh, it's stubble tillage. Never mind. So that's what we did there. Seed bed's different. So there we go. Anyhow, it just depends on how you prep it. But these are going to be ready for seeds, basically, at that point. And then you can start planting them and can get them ready to grow. Go to soil composition. A lot of different things going on here. So watered, you shouldn't have to water your crops. They should be fine. That's more specific to like rice and that sort of thing. Stones, if you're playing with field stones on, that will show you where your field stones are at. I'd recommend playing with those off. It just has extra steps that you don't need right at the beginning, and they're really not a lot of fun to do, to be honest. It just makes it more difficult. Mulch and rolling, I wouldn't worry about those steps. Those add a little bit to your yield, but not a lot. Needs lime, so all of our fields need lime, but if you have that turned off, you don't have to worry about it. It's kind of like fertilizing, but it's a little bit different. You usually do it once every 3 harvests, so that's how liming is. And then we have the fertilizer state, so you can turn these off to see which things are fertilized and not, and what have you. So fertilizer states, there's 2. There's this light blue and dark blue. So this is light blue, this is the dark blue. The light blue means it has 1 fertilizer state. The dark blue means it has 2. We want to have 2. So basically, if we go over here, none of our fields have any fertilizer in them. So this field that we just planted right here, field 3, right now would be a great time to put down some fertilizer on it, and then we'd have to wait until next month. It'll grow 1 stage, and then we can put down the next layer of fertilizer. That's just how you have to do it. Now, if weeds show up, this means the weeds are dead. That's a good thing. We want the fields to be brown if they have weeds in them, and then these are the various growth states of the weeds in the field. So if the weeds are there when you harvest, you'll get a deficit for your harvest. I also recommend turning weeds off to start. Now here's where we can see different like stations. Like we have a silo on the farm. We have also a cow pasture there and all sorts of different stuff. We can visit anywhere or tag places to go if we want to. So you can see kind of points of interest if you want to, and where all your vehicles are at. So like we have this guy here, that one there, so on and so forth. Then we have farmland. So the ones that are kind of grayed out are unowned. And then currently selected is going to be that light green there. And then the ones we own. So we own this farmland here. So if you want to buy more farmland, click on it. You can see the price and how many acres it is. And you can hit buy if you wanted to do that, which that one we can't buy because we don't have enough money to buy that. So it makes sense. So, but you can buy land that way. Create job. This is more for AI workers. I would just stay away from this for now. You can just hit H to hire them in fields if you want to do that. Crop calendar. So if you look in here, our canola is also ready to harvest this time. We can see planting season, harvest season. This is when we should harvest it. And this is that dotted line is what month it is now. So you can see that's what month it is now. This is also the weather down here at the very bottom. So you can see the weather for the day and then kind of going forward for the different months, what kind of weather. So you see some snow in December, and February is going to be partly cloudy, November, January, sunny in October, so on and so forth. So it is actually time to harvest and plant canola. Now that canola field that we have on our farm that's ready to harvest, if we waited till September, since it's outside of the harvest window, that field would wither and we just have to plow it under. So feel free to use this however you'd like to, but make sure you plant during the planting window and then you harvest during the red harvesting window. Now, if you don't want to deal with this, you can go to your settings, game settings, and seasonal growth, you can just turn that to no. And then if you go back up here, you can plant and harvest whenever you want to. So totally up to you what you want to do. This is your cows here, which we currently have these guys. I would just sell them off. I wouldn't do cows. You can feed them and produce products with them. If you want to, go for it. I would just watch maybe a tutorial video on it just to make sure you do it right to start. I'll have videos like that on my channel as well. Contracts. I highly recommend you do some contracts. It is a great way to earn extra money on the side, and it is a great way to learn how to do different aspects of the game. So like this one, for example, is bale wrapping. They just want you to go into the field and wrap some bales. This is deadwood. They want you to go get rid of some deadwood in the forestry area. I would maybe avoid forestry to start. Fertilizing. These are great ways to learn about fertilizing fields. And what you want to do is you want to borrow items because it'll give you this piece of equipment, all the equipment you need to do the job. It'll give you that. Now, if you do a fertilizing contract, you might have to buy some fertilizer in the store to be able to do it, but it's super helpful to just do that. If you hit accept contract and not borrow items, then you will have to use your own equipment. Now, if you borrow items, you do get a little bit of a reduced reward. So you can see this is contract pays $4,481 for completion. If you use the leased equipment, you get $600 less than that. So it'll be $3,800 or so. It's always worth it, I think, to use their equipment unless you have a bunch of really nice equipment. And then you can do harvesting if you wanted to harvest, and sometimes they have extra stuff left over. So this would be a great way to test out a different harvester. You can do some hoeing down here with the weed equipment there. Some spraying, which would be great for like spraying weeds. Wood transport, if you wanted to transport some wood. These are all really good jobs. Just know for this one, you're going to have to go pick up the wood off the ground. So just be aware of that. But yeah, great to do that. And this will show your active contracts. You can only have 3 active at a time. So just be aware of that as well. Down here, we have available and owned productions. We don't own any production chains. I would also stay away from productions to start, but for example, if you wanted to, maybe you could get the grain mill and start taking your barley or wheat or sorghum or oats that you're growing, because those are pretty easy to grow, and you can convert them to flour and then sell your flour for more money than you get for the oats and whatnot. So that's an option too. Again, I'll have guides for that. Here's the prices menu. This is a very important menu. Now, we just sold wheat off, so everything's in alphabetical order. So if I go down to wheat right here, you can see also we have 0 liters in our silo. All these things show that we have 0 liters in our silo. If it has a dash mark, we don't have a place to store it, but that's how much we would have in storage. You'd be able to see that right there. You can see storage, commodity, storage, and then over here, if we look at it, we have the station. So we actually sold wheat at the worst time of the year. We sold it at the grain elevator, which is, I don't even see it on this list here. I wonder what he actually had to sell it at. It was this sell point. Oh, we had to sell it at the grain mill. It wasn't the grain elevator. I thought he said grain elevator. So if we go back in here, we sold it at the grain mill. So it shows you how many feet it is away from you as well. So how far it is from where you're at, the player's at. And then it shows you the price down here. If they're trending upwards, it'll have a green arrow. If they're trending downwards, it'll have a red arrow. Be aware, the Goldcrest Valley one, like anyone that has this little train icon, the reason those prices are higher is because you have to load it on a train. So make sure you know how to use a train if you're going to do that. So a little bit more complicated, and you have to pay to rent the train as well. So just be aware of that. But down here, you can see the best time to sell wheat would be in January because we get $1,200 per 1,000 liters. That's what these prices are in, by the way. So if you have 1,000 liters and you sell it at $8.57, you get $857. and so on and so forth. So we should have probably put it in our silo and then waited until January to sell it, but that is what it is. So that's all the stuff that's in here. Now, if there's anything under the buy, which I think for a couple things, like you can buy like soup, for example, if you needed to buy it, you could buy it for this price. So it'd be $8,000 to buy soup per 1,000 liters. You could buy it from the warehouse. So just be aware of that. There's a couple different options for things. So make sure you're looking at the sell prices for selling things. So yeah. And then if you produce like flour, for example, we can go up here. We can see the prices we get for flour are more than what we're going to get for selling the wheat. And we can actually wait until those get higher in January as well. So that's how the price works. Then if we go to vehicles, these are all the pieces of equipment that we own through here. So we can take a look at everything that we have, and we can see how long or how old it is, how many working hours it has on it, how much repair it has on it, and what its current value is, which you could sell stuff off you don't need. Like I usually don't use header trailers, so I just sell this off so I don't have to deal with it. Hand tools, if you own any hand tools, is in here. Finances, this shows you where you're making money. We can see property income. That's probably from, who knows, honestly. Wage payment, that's from hiring that worker earlier. Biogas or harvest income there, it's from selling the wheat. And statistics, we have some different statistics there for our farm for what we've been doing on it. And then lastly, if you go through the game settings, this is the last thing I want to show you. Autosave, you can turn this off. If you want to, you can adjust your time sale and economic difficulty. If you turn this to hard, your sell prices are going to go down significantly. You can also turn AI traffic on or off in here. Now, the big thing, we talked about seasonal growth. If we go down here, I would turn crop destruction to off so you can't accidentally destroy your crops. Periodic plowing, I would leave that off. Fieldstone off, lime required off, and weeds off. And I would turn off disasters. Maybe leave the visuals on so you can see them because they're kind of cool, like tornadoes and stuff. But you don't want them to affect your crops. I turn all this off to start. And then when you want to kind of maybe get a little bit more crazy with it, well, bump one of these on. Maybe you start with plowing. Then you add lime or something like that. So that's a few options there. AI worker refill, if you want them to automatically buy products to put in the like fuel, seeds, fertilizer when they're doing work, you can set this to buy. They are going to charge you more than what you're going to get for it or what you're going to normally pay for it. So just be aware of that. But actually, you know what? Another thing I want to show you. And here, if you read through the help, there's a lot of different categories in here. So you can get some information out of here. However, they're very minimal. They don't give you a lot of information. They're very introductory. They honestly don't really give you enough. So you can look in there and see if you can get some help out of this, but usually watching a tutorial video, either my videos or someone else's videos, is usually the most valuable way to learn stuff about the game. So just be aware that that exists for you. You also can hit P to go in the store to look at stuff. There's tons of stuff, so just go through here, but don't get too crazy because everything in here is pretty expensive. So later, maybe we talked about getting a new harvester. If you wanted to get a new harvester, this is the one we own. You can tell because it says own down here, and that's leased. You can also lease things, but you're making payments on something you have to return and you don't get to keep in the end. But let's say eventually you wanted to get, well, this harvester. There's the price right there, but then you also need to get a header for it. You can hit the combination button to see what headers are supposed to go with it. Now, one thing you could maybe do is get a planter and do like some corn and sunflowers. If you felt really crazy, that would be the next couple of basic crops that are a step above just doing grain crops. But yeah, another good thing to check though is sales. You'll see some used equipment in here. So you might do that. Now, don't get too excited either about that. Because if you look at this, you're like, wow, that's a really nice plow. That'd be great. I could pull that and plow my fields because it's a really big plow a lot faster. Well, this requires 360 horsepower to run. We don't have a tractor that can run this. So just be aware of that. You have to have a tractor that can actually pull it to do it. But you could buy this little round baler and bale up your straw if you wanted to. Just an option. So yeah, there's a lot to the game, and I'm sure I'm missing out on some stuff for you guys, but that's just kind of a basic overview of it to give you guys just kind of some introductory to how to play the game and how to do things. So if your vehicle starts to need fuel, you can either find a gas station on the map as well, which let's find one real quick. Yep, right here. You can go up to a gas station and you can buy gas there. We also have a fuel tank over here. This guy. If I hit R, I can buy some diesel. You can see how much it's going to cost. Like I could buy 200 liters of diesel, put it in here, pull the tractor up next to it, hit the R key, and it'll refill you with diesel. This can't be our farm silo. I think that's decorative. Where's our farm silo? There's our silo. So you could dump your grain in here in order to store it for later. Now, be understand this is only going to hold basic crops like grains and those store style crops. It's not going to take grass and straw and stuff like that, or potatoes or root crops. So just be aware of what it's going to hold. But yeah, I think that's where I'm going to leave you guys. I hope this was helpful in some way, shape, or form. If you guys enjoyed, please drop a like down below. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button up on the screen to join the Farmer Cop channel. Turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any future videos I may post. This has been Farmer Cop. Thank you guys for coming and watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.